In today's video, I'm going to show you just how easy it is to upgrade and install several of the components on your AtGames Legends Ultimate Arcade cabinet. Now, I'll be the first to admit the built-in stock components on this machine are actually really good. However, if you want to take it up to that extra notch, I'm going to show you how to replace your joystick toppers with bat tops, your restrictor gates, your springs in the joysticks, your buttons, your micro switches, the whole 9 yards. So stay tuned, coming up right after this. Alright, so first and foremost, you're obviously going to want to disconnect your control panel from the AtGames Legends Ultimate Arcade itself. That way you've got easy access to both the top and the bottom of the control panel for a most convenient install process overall for everything we're going to be talking about today. First and foremost though, we're going to start out with the joystick toppers themselves. Now from the factory, these come with these red ball top joystick toppers. Nothing wrong with them, but if you're an American, you've almost always probably played with bat top style joystick toppers. These little things right here, they come in various different colors, and I'll put product links to everything in this video in the video description box below. But some of you may get lucky. You may just be able to simply unscrew the ball top, remove it from the joystick there, and then you can start to screw on your new joystick bat top. However, most of you, because this is the way it should be handled in the factory, these ball tops should be tightened down and therefore shouldn't be able to just simply unscrew with a hand. So very quick, very simple process. All you need to do is get at the underside of your control deck, and you're going to find the joystick bottom itself, and you're going to put a flathead screwdriver in the base of it, holding it in place, allowing you to unscrew the ball top, and then go ahead and take that off. And once you've removed the ball top, then you're simply ready to go, and you can screw on your joystick topper of choice. Alright, the next upgrade we're going to be making to our joysticks is we're going to be replacing the stock restrictor gates. Now, these stock restrictor gates are square shaped. Nothing wrong with them, they still allow for diagonal movement. However, if you're used to playing fighting games in particular, you're oftentimes going to be desiring something a little more free moving as far as your range of motion, so something like either a circle restrictor gate or an octagonal restrictor gate. My personal preference is the octagonal restrictor gate, so that is what we're going to be installing, but I'll put product links down in the video description box below to all the various different restrictor gates you can get, whatever suits your fancy. Try them all out, find out what works the best for you. But these are absolute breeze to install. You're simply just going to pry off the old stock restrictor gates with your finger. If you can't pry it off with your hands, you might want to get a flathead screwdriver and kind of pry them up a little bit. But it's very easy to remove these, and then you can also just throw on the new replacement octagonal, circle, or whatever restrictor gate you choose to go with. Simply press it on and you're good to go. And next up, we are going to disconnect the joystick 5-pin harness itself. That way we can go ahead and remove our joystick from the control panel. All you need to do is slightly pry this part up here and then pull out, and then you should be able to remove the harness itself and you'll be good to go. Next up, we're going to be installing tension springs onto our joystick. Now, if this is something you do want to do, you're going to be doing this assembly process kind of in reverse order as this video is stated. So instead of starting with your ball top, bat top, and your restrictor plates, you're actually going to kind of tear everything down, remove your joysticks, and you're going to want to start with your springs and then go in reverse order, and then throw on your restrictor plate, and then throw on your ball or bat top. That way you're not having to do everything twice. But we're going to be installing these 4-pound tension springs. The springs in the stock Legends Ultimate Arcade joysticks are 2-pound spring. Nothing wrong with that, but personal preference, especially if, again, you're playing fighting games a lot, things like that, you're probably going to be used to these heavier tension springs. So first things first, we're just going to simply remove our restrictor plates, and then you're going to take off the circuit board that has the micro switches. You don't have to, but it just makes it a little easier to work inside here. And then we're going to work on removing this horseshoe clamp, because we need to get at the spring here in the bottom. The way you remove the horseshoe clamp is you're simply just going to push down on the spring. Now you've got some space, and now you're going to take some needle nose pliers and you're going to pry away on this horseshoe clamp, allowing you to take off this plastic topper, remove the spring, and then simply putting the new spring back in place. Now, first thing you want to do is remove the micro switches, and that is a very simple process. You're going to put some light pressure sideways and just kind of pry them out. They should just snap in and out. This one's a little difficult on this side because of the extra wires, but I'm just simply rotating them off to the side to remove them and get them out of the way. Make sure you either label your micro switches with the buttons, or you take a picture of it before you remove everything. That way you know exactly the same order you should have when you're putting everything back in place. Now, to remove the buttons themselves, it is a little bit tricky because number one, AtGames, whoever built these cabinets in the manufacturer, they've glued the nuts onto the actual buttons themselves. One of the main reasons I wanted to switch out the buttons of the micro switches is I just wasn't happy with how all these buttons kind of wiggled as they were. You couldn't really tighten it anymore because they were super glued onto the buttons themselves and the nut, and I just don't like how they all twisted and wiggled, so I wanted to replace them. And number two, I wanted to go with the HAP competition style buttons that are convex as opposed to concave. Again, personal preference, but if you're going to remove these, there's a couple ways you can do it. Number one, you can heat up this glue with a hair dryer, soften that glue up, and then it'll be much easier to break the nut off the base of the button itself. Or you can invest in one of these, and if you've done a lot of arcade modding or anything like that, you should definitely have one of these. This is a nut wrench made specifically for these type of long stem buttons, to where it goes over the button, turn it the other way around, goes over the button, and then you can simply unscrew it. However, since these are super glued, you're going to have to apply some pressure onto the other side and make sure the button doesn't spin as you're trying to unscrew it. But combination of the two, whether it be the hairdryer trick or the button wrench itself, just pop these off, and then once you remove the old buttons, you're going to slide in your new buttons of choice, and then I'll show you the micro switches that I'm upgrading to. I'm going to the Cherry D44X. These are just a little bit quieter, and these are actually just my personal preference cherry switch of choice. So I absolutely love these cherry switches. I use them on all my arcades, and this is what I will be putting in my new buttons as opposed to reusing the micro switches. You can, of course, reuse the micro switches that come with the Legends Ultimate Arcade if you choose, and if you just want to replace the buttons, that's fine and dandy, but like I said, we're going to go the whole 9 yards. We're going to replace the micro switches and the buttons.
Ladies and gentlemen, that does it for this video. We've got a brand new machine, or at least it feels like a brand new machine, plays like a brand new machine, because we got new bat tops, we got new restrictor plates, we got 4-pound springs, we got new buttons, we got new micro switches. By God, it looks beautiful and it plays amazing. So I highly recommend these upgrades. Again, personal preferences, you don't have to go all out. You don't have to do each and every single one of these to improve your gameplay experience. Each individual upgrade, mod, whatever you want to call it, is very cool and very unique in its own way. So I highly recommend you guys kind of play around and find out what suits your fancy, what you enjoy the most. If you're new to this channel, I highly recommend you subscribe, hit that notification bell so you'll be the first to know every time I upload more great content. Next up on the agenda, we're going to throw on a custom artwork package care of Joe Sabo at Sabo's Arcades. Now, this thing is really going to transform the look of this machine 100%, so make sure you subscribe to the channel and tune in for that video coming up soon. Thanks for watching, guys. I greatly appreciate it.